The ABTA's Alumni Research Network, or AARN, has its annual meeting that is taking place at the close of this national conference. The AARN is a network of previously and currently funded ABTA grantees that are working to improve brain tumor diagnostics and treatment. This annual meeting brings members together to share research ideas and gain insights that will shape their careers and the brain tumor landscape. At this evening's cocktail reception, you will have a chance to interact with these researchers and read their posters. Dr. William Flavahan, researcher and AAN co-chair, will share about the ABTA's research program and how to read a research poster in preparation for the cocktail reception tonight. Please welcome Dr. Flavahan.
Perfect. All right, I'm just going to point this all the way up. All right, hi everyone, I'm Will Flavahan. I'm an assistant professor of cancer biology at the University of Massachusetts, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about the AARN, the Alumni Research Network's National Conference. First off, I have no disclosures. So the AARN has about 150 members since its inception of 2012, and as was mentioned, these are all scientists who have been funded by the ABTA to do brain cancer research. Each year, we meet to discuss the current state of brain tumor research, create collaborations, and to develop professionally. A lot of the awards given by the ABTA are junior awards, and some of the members of the ABTA have been doing research for decades. So it's a great chance to meet more experienced brain cancer researchers and learn what they've done that worked, how they developed professionally, and what we can do to improve our own careers as brain cancer research. Many projects, grants, papers, and discoveries have come from discussions at these meetings. There's a number of different types of sessions at these meetings. We have didactic slide-based lectures, as well as informal networking sessions, and panel breakout discussions where we talk about things that we think are important for brain cancer research and what we think the next steps might be. So the ABTA has a number of grants that they fund. The specifics of this aren't important, but I do really want to talk about the philosophy that the ABTA takes when funding research. And they describe it as seeding the field. So two of these grants, the Basic Research Fellowship and the Medical Student Summer Fellowship, seek to target early career brain cancer researchers. So people who've either just finished their PhDs or are currently in med school. And it gets them both interested in brain cancer research and establishes a solid footing for them to continue their careers as a brain tumor researcher. The other thing the ABTA funds is ideas. So the Research Collaboration Grant and the Discovery Grant are for more established investigators, but they fund ideas that maybe are too risky or too early to be funded through more traditional methods. So by developing both the scientists to do the work and the ideas so they can get future funding, the ABTA does a very active role in seeding the field for brain cancer research. As an example of this, at our conference this year, we'll have a presentation from the 2024 Rubenstein awardee, Suchet Tiori. He'll be presenting his work describing how glioblastoma cells can actually use changes in their metabolism to alter the chemical structures of their genomes in a way that makes them invisible to the body's immune system. So he'll talk about how his work has been affected by ABTA funding, what the results were, and how we can use his results to inform our own research to understand how cancer cell genomes work, as well as how the body's immune system reacts to brain tumors. There's another main theme we're focusing on this year at the AARN meeting, which is about scientists getting involved in the fight for brain tumor research funding. So the current federal government's policy has been to take a bit of a step back from research funding, which I don't think is a good idea. So what we're, yes, thank you. I'm being very neutral in my wording here. So what we have is, we want to know how we can convince the people that disagree with us about the importance of brain cancer research, and how we can help the people who already agree with us, how we can inform them, use our expertise, and help arm them in the fight for more NIH funding. So to this end, our keynote workshop will be hosted by two experts from the Association of American Medical College, who work with the NIH government all the time, who work with medical colleges, and who know how to get things done in Congress. So our hope is that we'll be able to arm ourselves to help the fight for brain cancer research funding and hopefully pull back and get the NIH more money for brain cancer research. With the federal government stepping back, research funding from foundations such as the ABTA is even more important. So just to give you an idea of the scale of ABTA funding, last year the ABTA awarded over $1 million in grants to 25 new projects. These had multiple research areas of focus, including things like immunology, drug therapies, epigenetics, as well as the mechanics of DNA and biomarkers. This covered multiple tumor types, including GBM, astrocytomas and oligodendrogliomas, as well as even metastases. So at the reception tonight, there will be several research posters from ABTA-funded researchers. These will cover both scientists who just finished their work and are presenting work that was recently funded by the ABTA, as well as scientists who received ABTA funding a decade ago and are presenting the results of recent studies that have spun off from that funding a long time ago that ABTA was important in seeding the field for. So they asked me to give you guys a quick primer on how to talk to scientists and understand a research poster. So this is a skill. There's sort of a formulaic way of making a research poster, and it's not the most easy to read. So the important thing to remember is that most scientists are very excited to share the results, and I'm sure that's true of absolutely every scientist here. And we're very excited for the opportunity to interact with patients and caregivers. You all are why we do this, so the opportunity to share our work with the people most affected by it is something that's very exciting for us. The problem is we don't do this that often, so there's a very easy tendency for us to slip back into very technical scientific speak that is impenetrable to basically everyone. It's not just you. So if you get lost, feel free to ask questions. Stop the scientist and say, sorry, can you put that in simple terms instead of the very developed field jargon that I'm sure some people are going to slip into. So a quick overview of how a scientific poster is actually structured could also be helpful. So first, at the top, this will be the title of the project. These are almost always impenetrable and very technical terms. Underneath that will be the list of authors and institutions. The first author is usually the student or fellow who did most of the actual bench work for the project, and will often be the person presenting it. The last is the head of the lab, and that'll be the other person who may be presenting these posters. So these are structured to be read from top left to bottom right. At the top left, what they'll usually have is an introduction or abstract. This states the problem. What were we looking at in brain cancer? What do we think is an interesting problem that we were trying to solve? Why do we do these experiments, and what did we expect the results to be? They'll often have another part where they talk about the methods and experimental approach. This is specifically what was done. I injected brain tumor cells into a mouse to see how the tumor could grow there, and then I wanted to treat it and see how this treatment that we're investigating would work. So that'll usually explain what happens in the next panel, which is the actual data and results. So this will take up most of the paper, and it'll often be the raw data presented as graphs. What this will do is show what was found, what the experiment showed, and they'll usually be divided into multiple figures, each with an accompanying legend explaining the actual data. This takes up the majority of the paper, and then finally there will be a conclusions box. This is the take-home messages, right? What did these experiments teach us that we now know about brain cancer that we didn't know before? How does this fit into what was known before? And often, what do we think should be done next, right? These results are probably paving the way for a future study, so what do we think should go there? And then finally will be the acknowledgements, which will describe the funding, lab contact info in many cases, and other basic information about the poster and the projects. Okay, and with that, that's the disclaimer. Thank you all. If you have any questions, I will be at the poster session tonight as well, so feel free to find me. I'm very tall, so I should be pretty easy to find. So, all right. Thank you.
You are very tall. Thank you, Dr. Flavahan. We appreciate you explaining what a poster is, and I will equally encourage you to spend some time at the posters. As Will said, this is usually a fellow or a trainee presenting, and if you fast forward, those are the next panel, the next generation of the Brain Tumor Board that we will have up here in a decade. So get to know them, be excited about their work, because hopefully they will bring us that hope and that cure that we are all striving for. Okay, next, we are moving on to caregivers. So interestingly, this session has historically been a breakout session. And the last couple years, primarily caregivers are sitting in the audience, and it has been bursting at the seams. We don't have enough chairs, which is wonderful to see. But we thought it was important to move this to a main stage presentation because it's not only important for us to talk to the caregivers, but it's also important to us to talk to the patients about what the caregivers are going through so that they can be a support for those who are supporting them.